We already had an incident.
Is not approved.
And we're live, though. So good morning, everybody. This is the one thing I don't like about this layout is that I can't see people when they say hi or when they comment. So, Lee, you're going to have to be my eyes for me there.
Can I have comments showing?
Yep, the comments should be showing on your... Yeah, I can see them, but now can you see me? Not. Can you still see me?
Yes.
Cool, then I can see them, but I can't see myself. So if I start looking like awful or forget and like pick my nose or something, you guys have to tell me. Because I'll get comments.
So how do I get the comments on screen?
Just click the.
I had to exit full screen. You still see me?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so I had to exit full screen. Exit full screen in StreamYard.
That sounds like a tongue twister, like we used to do in speech class.
Yeah, something like that.
Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers.
Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Yes.
Yeah, I know a couple of others, but they're less tasteful. So since this broadcast is live, I'm not going to say them.
We'll just leave it at pickled peppers.
We could leave it at pickled peppers. All right. Well, I don't see any comments coming in, and I don't even see if we have any viewers right now. So I'm just going to say again, hi, good morning.
I see 3 people online, and let me see if I can go to Serving and Succeeding.
Yep. So while he is doing that, I'll just welcome anybody who's here and encourage you again to say hi, because especially in this format, I can't even see if you're watching. Sometimes when we're together, I can see if we're watching. Facebook user is here, but I don't know who Facebook user is.
Ursula's here.
Ursula's here. Okay, cool. And I'm at 20% battery, so that's a little scary. So hold on one second. I'm gonna power up here. Let me know if you guys can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool, because now we're using car audio, but that's almost a little bit better, I think. All right, great. Well, good morning, everybody. We're glad to see you here. We are using StreamYard, and StreamYard is a much more like computer-friendly platform than mobile-friendly. So we're doing the best we can here, but hopefully it'll still be good. This is Business Chat Wednesday, so I know Lee has some stuff he wants to talk to you about. And as always, we'd like you to say hi if you're watching live. Leave us a hashtag replay if you're watching on the replay. And of course, if you're interested in becoming a sponsor, you can leave us a hashtag sponsor and learn about what it takes to get your name and or logo on the screen and what other cool stuff comes along with that. So that's my thing for now. You want to tell us what we're talking about today, Lee?
I'm not sure about your audio. I think it was better on your phone, but don't change it right now.
Oh, okay, really?
Yeah. Okay, so what we're talking about today, and I can't see any of the stuff that I wrote, but I know the idea was it's all about, we talk about avatars and the people who we serve. And the question is, and I think that there's some people in this group who can answer this very well. And Miranda, I'm sure you're going to have some insight into this. Who is that group of customers or the people who you serve? How did you find them? How do you maintain them? Do you use any specific tools for that? And I know that this is done within the group, and I'm hoping that we can get some comments from the people who are actually managing their sphere of influence here. Does that make sense?
All right. Can I back you up a minute and ask you, because you said a word called avatar, and I think most people know what that is, but some people are probably thinking about a movie with like blue people. So
yeah, Avatar is a movie with blue people. No. Your avatar is the profile of your perfect target market. Is that pretty accurate?
Yeah, I think so. I'm experiencing a lag over here. Are you guys
Yeah,
hearing and seeing me in real time?
it
Okay, then I'm
seems
gonna do
like
my best
it.
to just ignore that and go. Okay. That's okay. I'm almost 100% sure it's on my end. So, I'm going to be working to try to improve my setup for these Wednesdays. Wednesdays are my kids have all Wednesday off school, so we're trying to make it a family day, but technology isn't always helpful. So
Okay.
yeah, Lee, I think your definition of avatar is right. I think that, you hear people use different words to mean the same thing or similar thing. You might hear people say target market. I know that there's other words that people say. I know
Well,
ideal
Matt Dooley is
customer.
here.
Matt just said, so I'm learning how to toggle
Good morning,
between
Matt.
chat
Matt,
and video here.
yeah, I think there is a lag.
Hmm.
Matt summed it up in 2 words: ideal customer. So that's accurate as well. Who is that one client that you look back and say that client was awesome and I loved working with them? Yeah, that helps to create the mindset for that perfect customer. And that's what we're talking about. Is this group local? Is it global? Is there a reason for one or the other? Certainly, if you have a barber shop, your customer base, your avatar is going to be local. That's fine. You still need to reach out to them. How well are you doing that? And if you're not doing it well, there are people here in the group who can help to clarify for you, perhaps, how you might do it better.
Hmm.
Um, so we have a few people on here right now. I'm showing 5 and 3, so I'm not sure where we are. But I know that Miranda, you have a more global or certainly national reach for your avatar for career solutions. How do you manage that?
That's one of the things I was gonna say is that can be really hard, defining who it is that you want to work with, especially when you're a new business owner or when you're just kind of starting this. Because I know when I started my business, I was like, well, almost everybody needs what it is that I do, because I started off just doing resumes, and almost everybody needs a resume. The only person I think that doesn't need a resume is Lee. Um, he's the only one, even though I still made him one.
I
Uh,
actually did one in college for one of the classes that I had to do. Yeah, that was fun.
so I mean, even people who own businesses, I've done a lot of resumes for board membership applications and on volunteer boards and things like that. So I almost everybody needs that, and it was really hard for me to define my target market and my avatar at first, especially because I when I first started my business, no one knew me locally at all. In fact, I'm just now starting to get more of a local audience. I had a lot of clients in New York, San Francisco, Boston, even in the UK, but like nobody really knew what I was doing locally. And that's because when I first started my business, I was using like a lead generation platform, when you spent money in those bigger areas, you would get more clients. So I would spend money in those bigger areas because the work that I did was 100% virtual. And also, it tended to be that a lot of times people in those areas were more used to paying for the services I provided than people in this area who didn't quite. Now it's becoming a lot more common that just about everybody goes to a professional resume writer at some point, when they're actually making a career transition. It's becoming a lot more common. It's even something that colleges recommend. But at the time, it just locally it wasn't really a thing. And so that was kind of hard for me. But and I remember actually asking somebody once, I'd like people to know who I am locally, and they said, well, if the international thing is working, just stick with that. And so then, I did that for a while, and then slowly I started getting more involved in the local thing, and it was pretty organic for me. And I would say I'm pretty happy with it now. So for me, it was more not necessarily location, but really defining who I'm.
Oh, you froze up on my screen. I don't know. I can't hear you.
Now I think I'm back.
You're back. You're back. Do you
Yeah,
know what happened?
my child tried to call me, and I had to
Oh,
ignore her. Yeah.
yeah.
So that's what happened. And she's probably going to call like 8 more times. So let's hope that doesn't
I
happen.
I honor you for sticking to the program here, and hope that you can smooth things out with your child. And
Well, I should have put my phone on. I didn't realize with StreamYard, unlike some other platforms that will kind of silence calls, I guess StreamYard doesn't. So you have to go and actually do it yourself beforehand. So I know that in the future. But um, something important though that I did want to kind of finish up what I was saying there, which is that I had to figure out who is a good fit for me to work with in terms of like what actually they're looking to accomplish in their career. Not so much industry, although I do have a few things with industry. Like there's a few industries that I don't work with as well as others, but it's more like what their mindset is, what they're trying to accomplish, what their goals and objectives are. Because somebody who comes to me and it's just like, I need like this basic run of the mill thing so that for a school project or something like that is really not what I do. But when it's someone's making a transition like from one area to another and they have a specific objective in mind, that's more I'm more the transition person. So that's kind of who I've focused on. And then again, industry, just because again there's some industries where people just aren't used to doing this, like working with a professional, and there's industries where people are, and I tend to focus more on the ones where it's common.
sure. Okay. Well, good morning, Chrissy. Chrissy's here. She has kind of a unique situation where she owns and manages a specialty dental clinic, and so her avatar is mostly local because the clinic and the lab are local, but she works. The specialty is more dentures and partials and things like that, and so as it turns out, a lot of her customers move away to Florida and Arizona and places like that, and they come back to the clinic just because they do such great work. But she has to maintain her relationship with those people even after they move to Florida or Arizona or wherever people go to retire. And actually, she doesn't do a lot of that, but and a lot of her local business is word of mouth, so she doesn't do a lot of advertising. But I think that managing customers and her avatar could be done relatively easily with just a list. Um, I don't know that she uses any kind of electronic system, CRM system, but I'd love to hear about anybody who does, so that perhaps Chrissy could benefit from that too. Any thoughts?
So Matt had a good comment there I don't know if you saw it, where Matt said sometimes it's easy. Sometimes it's easier to see who your ideal customer is. Definitely not. And yeah, through process of elimination, there sometimes it's easier to find out, who you didn't really like working with, or you just don't feel like it's a good fit with that particular type of person. So I think one of the most important things here is to keep track of it. Just kind of like so many of the things we talk about, like reflecting on the work that you do. And also I think how you feel about it does come into play here. Like obviously you want to look at the money side of things, and like I said before about some people are used to experiencing or like working with a professional in this area. Some people aren't. So like the people that are used to are going to be less likely to be more likely to actually pay for what you do. But then I think, like, you know, if you're feeling super fulfilled and excited about working with one type of person, and then, you know, you're working with another type of person and you just don't get the same satisfaction, it's important to think about that too. So reflection is always key.
Sure. So Matt had a question. He asked, "How does Chris nurture client relationships so far away?" And I'm not intimately familiar with her system, but what I can tell you is that people call from around the country and even some outside of the country, and they call to make sure that they're still open before they make arrangements to fly into Chicago to get their work done. And so she just has a super loyal customer base, and that has everything to do with the quality of the service. I think if you actually provide a service that is just way better than anybody expects, okay, I think that was Chrissy. She uses mail, postcards, and letters, things that a lot of us overlook. And the reason for that is because her customer base tends to be older. They appreciate getting phone calls and mail and postcards and letters, all that kind of stuff. And that's just how they work. So I think that's an interesting phenomenon, and it's probably only going to be effective with that age group. So yeah, she has. She does not, as far as I know, she doesn't have an email list because most of her customers don't have or use email or Facebook or anything electronic.
So email marketing is a sticky issue because it hits a particular demographic. If you are working with professionals at any sense of the like some set of professional people, email is the great way to go because they're checking it all the time. Pretty much anybody else is not. Email is too slow for most younger people. They're mostly on texts and apps and messages and stuff like that. And then older people they missed that. They missed that email phase. So there's still snail mail and phone calls. And so even though email marketing for the longest time, everybody says, you know, that's the cornerstone of your campaign. I think it is true for some people. And I think having an email list, it's always good to try to capture an email if you can. But similarly, like with Abdul and his clients that, you know, I've helped him a little bit with his stuff. Email is good. I think like about half of them check it, but about half of them, they just don't. Like, you have to call them and tell them to check the email to get the information. And so that's kind of an interesting place where you got to think about, you know, what your clients actually do. So Chris seems to be doing that really well. And
Yes.
everybody else too, you know, be thinking about that. Yeah.
Matt made an interesting comment. He says he disagrees with it only being for old people. This is the manual system, mail, postcards, things like that. He disagrees with it only being for old people. He just switched to a program that does cards and gifts because everyone loves brownies and the random postcard / greeting card. And that's true. You know, for me in my life, Barbara Carr is one of those people who sends out letters through the mail. And it's a novel idea and it's noticeable and noticed. I like it. I mean, who doesn't like getting a letter in the mail? It's just so unusual these days. And so, yeah, I think there's a place for that potentially in a new world and a campaign to reach people who have maybe they don't get any mail. So yeah, that's an interesting thought.
Yeah. So somebody said something about not seeing anything about email marketing is out of date. Okay. So back in 2008, 2010, when I first started studying personal branding, the academic literature, which is always 2 to 5 years behind real world stuff, was saying that email was out of date. Now, not for everybody, not for everybody. And I still think email marketing is super important. In fact, I think it's because it's also super easy to automate. And it's one of those things that I think everybody should have. And in fact, we're working on ours with Green Cow, and I'm working with mine on Morley Career, because I just tend to like not remember to do it. um, but I will say that, like, even back then, for certain demographics, email was just not um, used as much. But like, if you see a lot of the new services that allow you to send out text blasts, they get a lot more interaction, like when people can text back right away. But again, it's for certain demographics, which is why I think you just got to look at like how your people are communicating.
Sure. How they're communicating. So here at Green Cow, we do have a MailChimp account. Um, I don't know the specifics about who it reaches and whether or not they respond. Do you know anything about the specifics on that, Miranda?
Not really, because we've been neglecting our MailChimp account. But it's one of the things that is on my list of things that I'm actually hoping that I'll be able to accomplish this week. MailChimp is a good option for email marketing. There's others out there too, and I don't really know enough about the various tools to compare and contrast them. I know that the only thing I'm unhappy with about MailChimp is well, there's two things. One, the price. It's pretty pricey for once you get out of the free level, it's like $30 a month, which other programs charge the same thing and do a lot more. But I mean, for email marketing, that's what it is. Then number two is, just like anything else, you can't always get all the integrations you want to work with it. There are a lot of integrations out there for MailChimp, but not, you're always going to find something that's not going to work with MailChimp. And that's a little frustrating. The only other thing too is, whenever you use any kind of email marketing, the some of them go to spam. Some of the stuff will go to spam, but that's just sort of the way it is, unfortunately. So
Okay, so I was going to ask Ursula because she is apparently better connected with email stuff, and she uses Sendinblue. I'm not super familiar with that, but she sent a link to a HubSpot email marketing report. So if you're interested in that, and I'm interested in looking at it, check it out. There's a link there, and let's see what it has to say. I can't do it right now because I'll mess up the recording or the stream. But yeah, looks interesting. And Matt suggests getting away from MailChimp because of the spam rates. He mentions ActiveCampaign. So yeah, we're getting some good feedback here about the tools that people are using to do email campaigns. And perhaps many of them are better than MailChimp. And so, yeah, great.
I think just like with anything else, there's lots of tools out there, and it's based on what you want to accomplish, essentially. There's so many tools out there, and you got to look at pricing, and then like how it works with the other things you're doing, and familiarity with it. Like, sometimes one of the reasons that I use MailChimp is just because I know MailChimp a lot better, and I haven't wanted to take the time to learn something new.
Sure.
So there's a lot of different tools out there, and different things are good for different stuff. So one of the things that I would say, kind of bringing it back to the avatar discussion and the communities discussion is, again, thinking about who your audience is, what they're going to respond to, what they're going to be most comfortable with. And then also, I think looking at the tools is really important and seeing what's best for you, but you can really quickly get into this, like, I'm doing nothing because I'm going to spend 8 years researching tools.
Yeah, don't do that.
And yeah, don't do that. So, yeah.
Yeah. But using tools can save a lot of time. And so, since we're talking about serving our avatar here, I'd love to know who's using a CRM, customer relationship management program, that works well for you. There's a lot of them out there. We've used or tried several of them. I would love to know what's working for anybody here. I mean, the bottom line is we want to serve our avatar, and tools to help us do that save time. So who's using what? Well, if you have a thought, Matt mentioned that people use MailChimp because it's free. We have a paid MailChimp account, but yeah, I guess you can do some stuff for free. And free is usually a good thing, but
free is good.
Often limited, though.
That's another thing too. Is we've talked before about data portability on this show, and so when you're first starting out, and it seems like all this stuff is getting thrown at you right away, and you're thinking, okay, I got to come up with a tool, and I got to think about who my avatar is and all that stuff. Well, I think that first of all, you don't have to be like super concerned about getting it right away. Like, a lot of it is a process of evolution where you learn more things and you grow and you figure out, like, more and more as you kind of go through the process. So you shouldn't let it, like, keep you from doing things. And then also, what's good about a lot of these tools now is it's really easy for most of them to just download your data and move it to something else. Social media is the one place where that is challenging. Whoa, sorry. People are waving to me, and now, like, I'm like, don't talk to me, and now I drop my phone. Like, I'm sitting outside Dollar Tree, and apparently all my friends that work at Dollar Tree are here, and they're waving at me. So yeah, there's that. But I was gonna say, like, I went from one CRM and automation system. I went away from that, and I'm kind of still making my move to the next one, but it was really easy for me to download all of my data, just like absolutely everything, into something that I could move. So make sure you do that, and make sure you're doing that regularly, because also with MailChimp, I had an issue where something got overwritten and it all went away. So that's why I download it regularly. But the good news is it is fairly easy to do that as long as you remember, and then the transition's a lot easier.
Okay. Ursula, thank you. She posted a overview of email marketing, and there's a link there. So check that out as well. Thank you for that. It's great when people post things that other people can benefit from. That's a really nice thing to do. That's being part of the community. We appreciate when you step up and say something that will help somebody else. That's a great thing. Not just here where we're live, but in the Serving and Succeeding group as well. That's all I want to say about that.
Yeah. So, and that's super helpful. We really do appreciate that. And again, this is a great place for you to ask those questions to get different people's opinions, because again, that's very helpful to have various points of view, since there's not usually one right answer for how to do these things. There's a lot of different answers, and so getting various opinions from different experiences can help you make good choices. But if you
Save you
are in
time.
this, if you're, well, well, I can't hear you. I lost you. Can you guys hear
You
me?
were mid-sentence, so I didn't want to interrupt. It just occurred to me that it's a time saver potentially to see what all these other people are using, so you can quickly check them out, see whether or not they're right for you, because certain tools are better for certain industries, and that's how it works.
Yeah, and absolutely. And here's the bottom line here also is that the point of this group is that we want to help people make more money doing what they love. If you're doing that through a business, whether it's a side thing or something you're doing full time or something you've just started or something you've doing for a long time, you're going to have some kind of systems to make it work. When you first start out your one person show, and you maybe not. I mean, a lot of people I think in this group are one people shows. And that's just never, you're going to reach a point where you tap out. And I've been there and then not a couple of times. And so I'm like growing again and I'm trying to do things the right way. But it is really true. Like, you're going to reach a point where you got to come up with something. So it's good to be thinking about those things from the beginning, but it's also good to not be a perfectionist and know that, things are going to change and that's okay.
Yeah, getting the job done is much more important than perfection of any part of that process. It isn't necessary to be perfect. It's great to be excellent for sure, but perfection, try to get away from that. Perfectionism is not a virtue. It is a problem. And
And a lot of times it's just evolution. Like, it's not that you're doing things wrong. It's not that we're seeing them as like mistakes. It's like, this is just a process and you're learning things and that's okay. So
okay, well, we've hit our time. If there's
we
any more
have.
questions, you can certainly ask us somehow, whether it's in the group or direct messages or whatever it is that works for you. Let us know, and we'll be happy to help you with that. If you have career questions, Miranda is your person.
That's for me. Yeah, you can reach out to me if you have career questions. Send me a message or post them in the group.
And for me, if you have business issues, if you have issues, or if you're curious about the virtues that I think should be included in every business, and there are a lot of them, and they make life better. So if you have any thoughts or questions about that you can guide toward me, and I'd be happy to send you into a good place. Is that about it for today?
And of course, if anybody's interested in sponsorship, you can give us a hashtag sponsor. We'd love to tell you more about how you can get your name and logo and information on the screen. And we're getting more and more places where we're doing videos recorded and live, so that's going out to more and more people every week. So we'd love to tell you more about that. You can comment the hashtag sponsor, or you can send either one of us a message to learn more about that.
Right. It's easy and affordable. It's great to have sponsors. We're thankful for the people who are already our sponsors. Yeah, some of them are not up yet on the screen, but we're working to get that. Probably the most difficult thing about the whole process is getting your pictures and your logos and things like that. So, yeah, it's actually,
and contact information. People keep sending the logos, but no contact information. We need to know how people can get in touch with you.
Right. People need to get a hold of you, and so but we're working on a process to make that easier for you. So I think we're almost there, aren't we, with that? Yeah. So
almost there. Yeah, it's very close. So hopefully by the end of the week. That's my goal.
Great. Okay. Well, thank you all for being here. Go out and make this a great day. Do something nice for other people. And we will talk to you Friday, if not earlier. Right? I'll wait for the delay.
Friday. Friday is when we'll talk to you.
Okay. Thank you all, and we'll talk soon. Bye.